The private jet touched down 3 days early. Min-ho hadn't planned to surprise anyone, but business in Singapore concluded faster than expected. He loosened his tie as the car glided through Seoul's rain-slicked streets, anticipating the warmth of home after 2 weeks away. The penthouse building stood elegant against the night sky. Min-ho dismissed his driver, preferring to walk the final block. His mind wandered to his daughter Soo-jin, now 5 years old, probably already asleep. His mother would be there too, visiting as she often did when he traveled. Something felt wrong the moment he approached the private entrance. The doorman's expression shifted, surprise mixed with something darker. "Mr. Kang, we didn't expect. Is everything all right?" The doorman hesitated. "Perhaps you should go upstairs, sir." Min-ho's instincts sharpened. He took the private elevator, each floor heightening his unease. When the doors opened to his penthouse level, he heard it immediately, crying. A child's desperate sobs echoed through the hallway. His heart stopped. Soo-jin. He rushed forward and found them huddled against the emergency stairwell door. His elderly mother sitting on the cold marble floor, his daughter pressed against her, both trembling. Soo-jin's pajamas were soaked from tears, her small hands clutching her grandmother's cardigan. "Halmeoni is cold," Soo-jin whimpered, not yet seeing her father. Min-ho's blood turned to ice. "Mother?" His voice cracked. "Soo-jin!" His daughter's head snapped up. "Appa!" She scrambled to her feet and ran to him, crashing into his legs with such force he stumbled backward. His mother looked up, eyes red-rimmed and exhausted. Behind them, the penthouse door remained firmly closed, the lock engaged from inside. "Min-ho," his mother whispered. "We've been out here for 3 hours." Min-ho scooped Soo-jin into his arms while helping his mother stand. His daughter's body shook with residual sobs, her face buried in his neck. She smelled of chamomile shampoo and desperation. 3 hours? His voice remained dangerously calm. "Mother, what happened?" His mother, normally composed and dignified, looked broken. "Hyejin said she needed space. She told us to leave and lock the door. I tried calling you, but my phone was off during the meeting." Guilt crashed over him. "You've been sitting on this floor for 3 hours." Soo-jin's small voice emerged muffled against his shoulder. "Ioma was yelling. She said bad words about Halmeoni. She said she didn't want us anymore." Min-ho's jaw clenched so hard it ached. He adjusted Soo-jin's weight and reached for his keycard, swiping it against the reader. The lock beeped red. Denied. He tried again. Red. "She changed the access codes," his mother said quietly. "I tried mine too." Min-ho set Soo-jin down gently and approached the door. He knocked firmly. "Ye-jin, open the door." Silence. He knocked harder. "Ye-jin!" Still nothing. He pulled out his phone and dialed his wife's number. Through the door he heard her ringtone playing, a cheerful melody that now sounded mocking. She didn't answer. Min-ho stared at the door that separated him from his own home, from his wife who had locked out his mother and child. His daughter tugged at his pant leg, whispering, "Is Ioma mad at me?" That question shattered something fundamental inside him. Min-ho called building security. Within minutes, the head of operations arrived with master access codes, his expression professionally neutral despite the obvious family crisis. "Mr. Kang, I apologize for the situation. If you need anything, just open the door." The lock disengaged with a soft click. Min-ho pushed the door open, immediately hit by warmth and the scent of expensive candles. Such a stark contrast to the cold hallway where his family had been suffering. The penthouse looked immaculate. Soft lighting illuminated the open-concept living space, with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. Classical music played from hidden speakers. Everything appeared peaceful, perfectly curated. "Stay here," Min-ho told his mother, then knelt before Soo-jin. "Stay with Halmeoni, okay?" His daughter's eyes widened with fear. "Don't let Ioma yell again." "I won't let anyone yell." He kissed her forehead and stood. He found Hye-jin in the master bedroom, sitting at her vanity in a silk robe, calmly removing her makeup. She met his eyes in the mirror without surprise, without guilt, without any emotion at all. "You're back early," she said, applying cream to her face with precise movements. Min-ho stood in the doorway, struggling to control his rage. "You locked them out. I needed peace." She set down the jar with a delicate clink. "Your mother is suffocating, always criticizing, always hovering, and Soo-jin wouldn't stop crying about wanting you home. So you put them in the hallway. A 5-year-old child and a 68-year-old woman?" Hye-jin finally turned to face him, her expression cold. "Your mother has her own home. She can go there. It's midnight. She chose to stay." Min-ho stared at the woman he'd married 6 years ago, searching for traces of the person he'd fallen for. That woman had been warm, attentive, eager to build a family. This stranger wore her face, but possessed none of her heart. "When did you become so cruel?" Hye-jin's perfectly made-up face remained impassive. "When did you become so blind? Your mother treats me like an intruder in my own home. She questions everything I do with Soo-jin, undermines my parenting, makes me feel inadequate constantly. So you locked out my daughter too, your own child. She's becoming just like your mother, clingy, needy, always demanding attention." Hye-jin stood, smoothing her robe. "I gave up my career for this marriage, Min-ho. I sacrificed everything to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother. But it's never enough for the Kang family, is it?" Min-ho's anger momentarily faltered. He'd known about the tensions between Hye-jin and his mother, had witnessed their polite arguments, their competing visions for Soo-jin's upbringing. But he'd dismissed it as normal family friction. "That doesn't justify what you did tonight." "What I did?" Hye-jin laughed bitterly. "I asked for space. I requested one evening alone in my own home. Is that so unreasonable? You locked them out in the hallway. I assumed your mother would take Soo-jin to her apartment. I didn't know she'd stage some dramatic scene to make me look like a monster when you returned." Min-ho's fists clenched. "My mother doesn't manipulate. You locked the door, changed the codes to protect my boundaries." Their raised voices carried through the apartment. Min-ho heard Soo-jin crying again in the distance, and the sound cut through him. Min-ho left Hye-jin standing in the bedroom and returned to the foyer. His mother had moved Soo-jin to the living room couch, wrapping her in a cashmere throw blanket. His daughter's tears had subsided to hiccups, her small body exhausted from emotion. "Soo-jin, sweetheart." Min-ho knelt beside the couch. "I'm going to take you and Halmeoni somewhere safe tonight, okay? Not to Ioma." Soo-jin's voice was tiny, confused. "Ioma needs some time alone. We'll let her rest." His mother touched his arm. "Min-ho, we can go to my place. You don't need to—" "No." His voice was firm. "I need you both where I can see you." He called his assistant, waking him without apology. "Prepare the company residence suite. I need it immediately." Then he called his driver back. While waiting, Min-ho packed bags for his daughter, favorite stuffed animals, pajamas, her blanket embroidered with rabbits. His mother tried to help, but her hands trembled slightly from stress and cold. Hye-jin emerged from the bedroom, now dressed in expensive loungewear. "You're really leaving, making me the villain in this story. You made yourself the villain." Min-ho zipped Soo-jin's bag with more force than necessary. "We'll discuss this tomorrow, when everyone's calmer." "There's nothing to discuss. Your mother refuses to respect my space, and you always take her side. I take my daughter's side. I take the side of basic human decency." Hye-jin's composure cracked slightly. "I never wanted this marriage to become a battle. But your family never accepted me, never saw me as enough." "That's not true, isn't it?" Your mother wanted you to marry that doctor. What was her name? Ji-won? The perfect Korean daughter-in-law who would have given her perfect grandchildren and never challenged her authority. Min-ho's jaw tightened. This has nothing to do with... Everything has to do with it! The car ride to Kang Corporation headquarters was silent, except for Soo-jin's occasional sniffles. She sat between Min-ho and his mother in the back seat, her small hand gripping her father's much larger one. Min-ho's mother stared out the window at Seoul's nighttime glow. I should have called you sooner. I kept thinking she'd calm down, that it was just stress. I didn't want to worry you while you were working. Mother, none of this is your fault. Isn't it? Hae-jin is right about one thing. I've been critical. I questioned her choices with Soo-jin, suggested different approaches. I thought I was helping, but maybe I was interfering. Min-ho squeezed his daughter closer. Disagreeing about parenting doesn't justify locking a child outside. The company residence occupied the top floor of Kang Corporation's headquarters, a luxurious apartment maintained for emergencies and late-night work sessions. Min-ho rarely used it, preferring to go home regardless of the hour. Now, carrying his sleeping daughter through its pristine rooms, he wondered if home meant what he thought it did. The suite had 3 bedrooms. Min-ho settled Soo-jin in the smallest, tucking her favorite rabbit plush under her arm. She stirred slightly, mumbling, "Appa, don't go." "I'm right here, baby. I'm not going anywhere." "Promise?" "I promise." She drifted back to sleep, her face finally peaceful. Min-ho sat on the edge of her bed, watching her breathe, his heart aching. What had his marriage become? When had the woman he loved transformed into someone capable of such cruelty? His mother appeared in the doorway. "She's resilient. Children are. She shouldn't have to be." "No," his mother agreed quietly. "She shouldn't." Dawn broke over Seoul in shades of pink and gold. Min-ho hadn't slept, spending the night reviewing security footage from his building's hallway cameras. The recordings confirmed everything. His mother and Soo-jin knocking on the door, calling out, eventually sitting down to wait. 3 hours and 17 minutes of abandonment. His phone buzzed with messages. His assistant had already rescheduled his morning meetings. News of his early return was spreading through the company, though no one knew about the family crisis. Soo-jin woke around 7, disoriented in the unfamiliar room. Min-ho heard her calling and went to her immediately. "Appa? Where are we?" "At my office, sweetheart. Remember, we came here last night." Her eyes filled with memory and fresh tears. "Because Ioma locked the door." Min-ho lifted her from bed, holding her tight. "Let's not think about that right now. How about we get some breakfast? I bet Halmioni is awake." They found his mother in the kitchen, already preparing a simple meal from the suite's well-stocked refrigerator. She moved efficiently despite her exhaustion, her training as a homemaker from a different era still evident. "Halmioni!" Soo-jin wiggled down and ran to embrace her grandmother. "There's my sunshine." His mother kissed the top of Soo-jin's head. "Are you hungry?" While they ate rice porridge and banchan, Min-ho's phone rang. Hae-jin's name appeared on the screen. He stepped into the living room to answer. "Min-ho, we need to talk." "I agree. But first, you need to apologize to my mother and our daughter." "I'm not apologizing for needing space in my own home." "Then we have nothing to discuss." He ended the call, his hand trembling slightly. Min-ho contacted his personal attorney that morning. Park Jin-seok had handled the Kang family's legal matters for 2 decades and knew discretion. "I need to understand my options," Min-ho said, pacing the suite's office while his mother kept Soo-jin occupied in the living room. "If this marriage is over, I need to protect my daughter." Jin-seok's voice remained professional over the phone. "Document everything. The security footage is crucial. Do you have witnesses to previous incidents?" "There haven't been previous incidents." Or maybe there have been, and I was too blind to see them. Your mother would testify if needed." Min-ho glanced toward the living room where his mother was reading a picture book to Soo-jin, her voice gentle and patient. "I won't put her through a custody battle if I can avoid it, but yes, if it comes to that. Custody in Korea traditionally favors mothers, but abandonment, especially of a young child, carries significant weight. The security footage shows clear neglect. Combined with your financial stability and family support system, I don't want to weaponize my money. But you will, if you must, to protect Soo-jin." Min-ho closed his eyes. "Yes, if I must." After the call, he stood at the window overlooking Seoul's business district. Somewhere out there, in their penthouse, Hye-jin was probably going about her morning routine as if nothing had happened. The thought made him sick. His mother appeared beside him, silent for a moment before speaking. "I never wanted this for you, a broken marriage, a divided family." "I know, Mother. But I also won't apologize for loving my granddaughter enough to protect her." Min-ho turned to her. "What would you do if you were me?" His mother's expression held decades of wisdom. "I would ask myself, is this marriage salvageable? And more importantly, should it be?" Hye-jin arrived at Kang Corporation that afternoon, dressed impeccably in designer clothes and perfect makeup. Building security called up to inform Min-ho of her arrival. "Send her up," he said, then turned to his mother. "Take Soo-jin to the children's play area on the executive floor. Stay there until I come get you." Min-ho!" "Please, Mother, I don't want Soo-jin hearing this." After they left, Min-ho prepared himself. He'd faced hostile business negotiations, defended his company against corporate raiders, weathered economic crises, but nothing felt as daunting as confronting the woman he'd once loved. Hye-jin entered the suite like she owned it, her heels clicking on marble floors. She surveyed the space with obvious disdain. "So this is where you brought them? To your corporate palace? This is where I brought my family to keep them safe." "Safe from me?" She laughed bitterly. "You're so dramatic, Min-ho. I asked for one evening alone, and you've turned it into this grand tragedy." He pulled out his tablet, queued up the security footage. "Watch this. Watch all of it." Hye-jin's confidence faltered as she saw herself through the camera's eye, closing the door on her daughter's crying, ignoring the knocking, the pleading. 3 hours compressed into painful minutes. "I didn't know she'd sit there that long," Hye-jin whispered, her composure cracking. "She's 5 years old. Where else would she go?" "Your mother should have—" "My mother did exactly what any grandmother would do. She stayed with her frightened grandchild and tried to keep her safe and calm while locked out of her own family's home." Hye-jin sank onto the couch, the fight draining from her. For the first time she looked genuinely shaken. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I was just so angry, so tired of feeling inadequate, of being compared to some impossible standard." Min-ho sat across from Hye-jin, maintaining distance. "When did you start feeling this way?" She twisted her wedding ring, an unconscious gesture he'd never noticed before. "Maybe always. Your mother greeted me politely at our wedding, but I saw the disappointment in her eyes. I wasn't who she'd chosen for you. My mother wanted me to be happy. She accepted you." "Accepted, yes. Welcomed, no." Hye-jin's voice broke slightly. "Every decision I made with Soo-jin was questioned. The way I dressed her, fed her, disciplined her. Nothing was good enough for the Kang family standards. Min-ho wanted to defend his mother, but something in Hye-jin's pain felt genuine. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" "I tried, but you were always traveling, always busy building your empire. When you were home, I didn't want to burden you with petty family drama. So I smiled and pretended everything was fine until I couldn't anymore. So you locked them out." I snapped. Hye-jin covered her face with her hands. I know it was wrong. Watching that footage, seeing my own daughter crying for me, God, Min-ho, what have I become? Her tears seemed real, but Min-ho's trust had been shattered. You're right that I've been absent. I've prioritized work over family, left you to handle everything alone. That's my failure. But Hye-jin, you hurt our child. You traumatized her. I know. I don't think you do. Last night, Soo-jin asked me if her mother was mad at her. A 5-year-old child blamed herself for your anger. Hye-jin's sob was visceral. I need help, professional help. I think I've been depressed for a long time. Min-ho called his mother, asking her to keep Soo-jin occupied a while longer. Then he made tea, a ritual his own mother had taught him for difficult conversations, and sat with Hye-jin as she composed herself. I want to believe you, he said carefully. I want to believe this was a moment of crisis, not a pattern of cruelty. But I can't risk Soo-jin's well-being on hope. Hye-jin wrapped her hands around the teacup. What are you saying? I'm saying we need time apart. You need to get help, real professional help. Therapy, maybe medication if a doctor recommends it. And I need to see consistent change before I can trust you with our daughter again. You're taking her from me? I'm protecting her. There's a difference. Hye-jin's tears flowed freely now. I love her, Min-ho. Despite everything, despite what I did, I love our daughter. Then prove it. Get better. Show me that what happened last night was an aberration, not who you've become. They sat in painful silence for several minutes. Finally, Hye-jin spoke. What about us? Our marriage? Min-ho had been asking himself the same question all night. I don't know. Right now, I can barely look at you without seeing my daughter crying in that hallway. Maybe therapy can help us too, eventually. But Soo-jin comes first. She always should have, Hye-jin admitted quietly. I got so lost in my own pain that I forgot that. Will you seek help? Willingly? Yes. Her answer came without hesitation. I'll do whatever it takes. Min-ho wanted to trust her commitment, but words were easy. Actions would tell the truth. I'll have my assistant compile a list of therapists who specialize in family dynamics and postpartum issues. You'll need to commit to regular sessions. And Soo-jin, can I see her? Not yet. She needs time to feel safe again. The following weeks unfolded in careful steps. Hye-jin moved into a smaller apartment, agreeing to the separation without legal battle. Min-ho appreciated her cooperation, though he wondered if it stemmed from genuine remorse or fear of how a divorce might unfold. She began therapy 3 times weekly. Her therapist, Dr. Yoon, contacted Min-ho with Hye-jin's permission to discuss her progress. Your wife is showing signs of clinical depression, possibly exacerbated by postpartum issues that were never properly addressed. She's responding well to treatment. Does that excuse what she did? No, Dr. Yoon said firmly. It explains it, but doesn't excuse it. She's taking responsibility, which is a positive sign. Meanwhile, Soo-jin stayed with Min-ho at the family home, the sprawling Kang estate where he'd grown up. His mother lived there too, and together they created stability for his daughter. Slowly, Soo-jin's nightmares decreased. Her bright personality began to resurface. Appa, can I call Ioma? She asked one evening after dinner. Min-ho's heart clenched. Do you want to? I miss her sometimes, even when I'm mad at her. The honesty of children could devastate. Of course you can call her sweetheart. He dialed Hye-jin's number on speaker. When she answered, her voice trembled. Soo-jin. Hi, Ioma. The conversation was brief, awkward but genuine. Hye-jin asked about school, about Soo-jin's favorite things, listening more than talking. When they hung up, Soo-jin looked thoughtful. Ioma sounded sad. She is sad, baby. She knows she hurt you and wants to be better. Can people get better after they're mean? Sometimes. if they work very hard and really want to change. Sujin nodded solemnly, processing this truth about human complexity that no 5-year-old should need to understand. 3 months after that terrible night, Hyejin requested a supervised visit. Min-ho agreed, arranging to meet at a neutral location, a park near the Han River where Sujin loved to feed ducks. His mother came along, her presence both support and witness. They sat on a bench while Sujin played on the swings, Hyejin watching from a distance. "She looks healthy," Hyejin said softly. "Happy?" "She is," Min-ho's mother replied, her tone carefully neutral. "She's a resilient child." Hyejin turned to face her mother-in-law. "I owe you an apology. A real one, not the hollow words I've given before. What I did was unforgivable, but I'm asking you to forgive me anyway." Min-ho's mother studied Hyejin for a long moment. "I forgive you for my granddaughter's sake. But trust? That has to be earned back slowly." "I understand." Sujin noticed her mother then, her small body going still on the swing. Min-ho held his breath, unsure how his daughter would react. Then Sujin climbed down and walked over, slowly, cautiously. "Hi, Ioma." "Hi, my baby." Hyejin knelt to Sujin's level, making herself small and non-threatening. "I've missed you so much." "I missed you too. But I was also scared." "I know. And I'm so sorry I scared you." Sujin looked at her father, seeking permission. Min-ho nodded. His daughter stepped forward and hugged Hyejin briefly before pulling back. "Dr. Yoon says you're getting better." Hyejin looked surprised. "You know about Dr. Yoon?" "Appa told me. He said sometimes grown-ups need help learning to be happy again." "That's exactly right, and I'm learning, I promise." They spent an hour together, not as they once were, but as something new, something more honest, perhaps more fragile, but potentially stronger for the breaking and mending. 6 months later, the Kang family gathered for Sujin's 6th birthday. The celebration was smaller than previous years, held at the family estate rather than an elaborate venue. But it felt warmer, more genuine. Hyejin attended, integrated cautiously back into family events. She and Min-ho had started couples therapy, working through years of unspoken resentments and miscommunications. They hadn't moved back in together, weren't rushing toward reconciliation, but they were talking. Really talking. "I've been thinking," Hyejin said to Min-ho's mother as they prepared the birthday cake together, an olive branch Min-ho had suggested, "about going back to work. Part-time at first, but I need something that's mine again." Min-ho's mother nodded. "Independence is important. I think I forgot that when raising Min-ho. I made being a mother and wife my entire identity, then expected you to do the same. You were trying to help. I was trying to control. There's a difference." She squeezed Hyejin's hand. "We've both learned something from this terrible experience. Maybe that's the only redemption we get, to grow from our mistakes." Outside, Min-ho pushed Sujin on her new swing set, his daughter's laughter echoing across the garden. She wore a birthday crown made of flowers, her joy uncomplicated by adult complexities. "Higher, Appa. Any higher, and you'll touch the clouds." As the sun set over Seoul, painting the sky in shades of promise, the Kang family, broken and mending, imperfect but trying, shared a meal. No one pretended the past was erased. The scars remained, visible and tender. But scars, Min-ho thought, watching his daughter blow out her candles while surrounded by people who loved her, were proof of healing. Evidence that something hurt could still survive, still grow, still hope for better tomorrows. Sujin made her wish in silence, then looked up at her family, her father, her grandmother, her mother, and smiled. Whatever she wished for, Min-ho hoped with everything in him that it would come true.